Alright. Hey everyone, I'm back again with another devlog for my RPG. I've added a lot more content since last time, so let's get straight to it. So, the first thing I've added since last time was that now I've completely implemented the rest of the inventory. As you can see now, the armor items have officially been added into the game, so now they will actually reflect um, so now that you're able to swap between different armor sets, it will reflect a change in your current defense and resistance stats, as well as modify your appearance in game. This applies for both head and body piece. So as you can see, my in-game appearance is different from what I've had previously. And if you were to have nothing at all, then it will default to, um, nothing. Now, in these kinds of games where you're allowed to customize the features of your character, I also find it equally essential that you may be able to customize their appearance as well. And I wanted to reflect this within my own game. That way, one may be able to personalize their own character. So, um, um, currently, right now, there's only a few equipment pieces that I've actually added in order to make sure that this system works. Um, but now adding equipment is as simple as just adding them into the current database of items that I have. So now you can fully personalize your character to be whatever you might want them to look like, no matter how ugly it may be, like this. Now, this also goes for accessories as well. Um, if accessories are purely cosmetic, but they will modify your appearance um, purely for cosmetic purposes, uh, to further push for the whole idea of personalization that I was going for. So as you can see, the head accessory will replace the your current headpiece, and then the back accessory will be on your back and have look cool like this. Um, yeah, that's what I've once all of this with that in mind, all of the current equipment or the weapons and the armor and the different accessories and as well as the consumables are now fully implemented. And now if I want to add different items, then it's just simple as doing so. And so, yeah, now the second thing I've added was a jump into the player's bit or set of controls or buttons that they can use. With the space bar, one can propel himself upward, and based on the current player's velocity, it will affect how far or how fast that they jump forward, or you know, um, or just how far they jump forward. Now, I've tested this with a few different ways in which I could um, essentially change how gravity works with the jump in order to make the jump feel not as floaty and be more satisfying to use. Um, and uh, so I feel like I've got it into a reasonable kind of feel that I just feel like it just feels good to use. And honestly, adding a jump was a bit tough to throw in with the way that I've structured my code in handling gravity and um, as well as the velocities for my movements. And I considered not having it at all because of how tough it was. Um, uh, and it just it just introduced a few more odd behaviors or things to consider with the physics of my game. But nonetheless, I really wanted to have it because I feel like it just felt really good to have having a jump because not having it, I felt kind of limited with my movements, and I just felt like having this slight touch of platforming or a way in order to navigate through the world and just made the game feel a little bit more of an enjoyable experience. Okay, so with that out of the way, I've said in a previous video that I wanted to start working on setting up the system in which the player may gain feedback from the world. And so with that in mind, I've added world interactions within the game. So the first example I wanted to show was this chest here. So it's pretty simple. The universal interact key for this game will be F, and upon um, being close enough to an object or something that you may interact with, then it will display this sort of um, this kind of uh, trigger, or it would just prompt you to press the interact key. And if you press the interact key or F, then depending on the type of interaction, there will be a particular event that will take place. So for this case, because it's a chest, it will display an announce box telling you the items that you gain and place them into your inventory. So um, this chest right here will give me another set of wings. So as of right now, I currently only have one set. So if I were to press F, then it will display an announce box telling you the item that you gained and placed it into your inventory. So now that that item has been, or the chest has been opened, this item has been added into my inventory. So it's not there just for show, but it actually works as well. Um, this goes this item or chest can add multiple items at once. I think I'm gonna max it out to maximum of 3 items that can be added into your inventory within a chest. So as you can see, um, a magic potion and a health potion, as well as another greatsword, has been added. So these extras have been are in my inventory, as well as this extra greatsword. Now, so that's what's going on for these chests. Over here is an NPC in which I've begun working on the dialogue system. So the dialogue is stored in the database, which will load in to the game session if there is an NPC, which is instance if the NPC is instanced within the scene, and upon pressing F, it will bring up the dialogue box, which will start reading their lines of dialogue. Each time you talk to them, it will um, continue to increment their next set of dialogue until they have no more to say, um, or that their next dialogue is locked off by an event. And what I mean by that is that there's some interactions that may trigger a flag which will progress a certain NPC's dialogue. Right now, I will show you this current dialogue right here is looped because I haven't because it's been locked from progressing because of this door over here. Now if now like as let's say if I were to open this door like this, now the that interaction right there will trigger um, the flag for this NPC, and the dialogue will then progress, or his dialogue will then branch and will then continue to progress until you reach the end of what he has to say. In which this case, there's no more branches further on. This is the furthest that he'll go for what he has to say. Um, so yeah, that said, well, the dialogue system is still lacking a bit in terms of more intricacies, such as enabling player choice in order so that they'd be able to make dialogue choices themselves sometimes, and which would branch what they say further. But the foundation is still there, and now I just need to expand onto it, or expand it, which is honestly what I could say for everything I've done so far. Now, lastly and most significantly, I've begun to start working my work on enemy AI. Now, this was a bit tougher to bring to a state where I feel like I can begin showing it off because honestly, I feel like I'm not even a tenth of the way done with it because there's just so many intricacies that can be done, um, such as different, just different cases for enemies depending on like whether if I want them to behave, certain ways. Um, but nonetheless, I wanted to show off the base system that I made so far. Now, as of right now, the enemy behaviors are triggered by line of sight, in which if I'm at a particular distance, or like within a close enough distance to him and within the angle of his field of view, then I will be detected. And once I'm detected, then he will then generate a path, or he'll calculate a he'll pathfind to my position, in which he will try to come closer to me or to reach me. And then once he's a close enough distance, then he will begin attacking me. And so like this. Whoa, okay. That's that kind of scared me. But yeah, that was a close enough distance for his attack. But as you can see, this is his pathfinding. And once he's a close enough distance, then he's gonna try and attack me. Um, he'll be his attacks will be calculated based on weights. So these weights are calculated based on the particular angles or the distances necessary to use these attacks, as well as whether or not these attacks are on cooldown or not. Of course, these calculations are very simple for what you would have for an AI, but this is what I managed to figure out within, so that I'd be able to show this off. Um, of of course, now he has a damage collider, in which if he um, attacks me, or his attack connects with me, then he's going to actually do damage. It won't kill me, but it will still reflect within my health, and um, he's now capable of doing damage. Now, the damage he does is based off his current attack value, minus the particular defense values that I have on myself. So if I were to add this, then he would do less damage than what he normally would. And as you can see, different attacks will trigger particular different damage animations. So with that upward cleave, it sent me flying into the air, whereas the other ones will just simply damage me normally. Uh, of course, there are other things that I need to add in the future, such as his own attack combos, where if he attacks me, then he should be able to follow up with it with another attack. Since if I'm able to do it, then these guys should be able to do it as well. Uh, there's also other things, such as having him go back to his starting position if he's too far from where he originally was, because I don't want him chasing me the entire map, trying trying to kill me, and I actually want him to lose aggro and go back to where he was. As well as other things, such as like waypoints, so that he'd walk around, or survey a particular area, so that um, you know he'll just feel more alive, more like a living creature. And so, yeah, it's as you can see, it's clearly not perfect, and but this, like I said, the system is there, and I'll continue to be working on this for probably a long time. But I wanted to establish the basis like this. Okay, so I'm just gonna kill him real quick. Yeah. So yeah, this is what I've been working on since last time. Uh, and honestly, it just feels like the further I go in, the more exponentially complex it ends up being. When I undertook this endeavor to, make an RPG, I didn't realize how complex, or how many things that you had to add and think about in order to make it a good RPG experience. Because, other games are particularly more simple, maybe like a racing game or just a flat out platforming game. But RPGs, they have a lot more systems that you have to consider and think about, and it makes things much harder, but nonetheless, it still feels very exciting. Um, with the feeling of excitement for all of this coming together is still, really really great nonetheless. And I'm very happy with my progress so far. And so very soon, I feel like after I fix a little bit more things for the AI, as well as add AI for non-humanoid creatures like this, such as like creatures like, I don't know, like giant bug things, or any other thing that just aren't human, then I feel like I'm going to get I'm going to start actually getting into the whole level design and like the level or the stage building. And well, it's not going to be a stage. It's going to be an entire world that in which we'll have different sections. And so, like I said, once I cleaned up and fix a few more things, I'm going to start working on scene management. That way, the entire game, as well as the different sections of the world, um, aren't going to be active all at once, just destroying your process, or just like being really hard on your processor or your just CPU. And then I'm going to start working on that way. That way different sections of the world will load depending on where you're currently at. And then once I have that, then I'm going to begin working on multiplayer and being able to play with other people and just interact with interact with others. So yeah, thank you for the support. If you have any feedback on what I'm doing right now, then I would really love to hear it. So yeah, happy New Year, and until next time.